All right, in our Biz Blitz tonight, if you are scared of flying now, imagine terrorists controlling air traffic control itself. The government is warning the FAA could be easily hacked. That's not good. That means that your plane could be ripe for a terror attack from the ground. To Mark Serrano and Veronica Dagger on why it seems nobody is prepared for these kind of threats. Veronica, that's the case. And bad guys could be controlling your plane. Well, you can imagine.
That's really scary thought to think about, not to mention the effect on business, the effect on the travel industry. People are afraid to fly. Some of them are afraid to fly already. If that happened, that would really put the kibosh on a lot of people's plans and instill fear. It's really disturbing that if it is the case that the FAA is that behind in their cybersecurity, prevention issues, if they're not up to speed on their IT, that really puts us at a big disadvantage and a big security risk as well. It's something we should be concerned about.
You know, Margaret, I talk to a lot of pilots, though, and people who know planes very well, is that it's one thing to hack into a system. It's another to take the leap and assume that you can control the plane or crash the plane. What do you think? Right.
Well, I'm really glad I didn't read this story when I was mid-flight because it is nerve-wracking. And if you take a look,
on your private jet, you wouldn't have to worry.
Well, that's a good point. But or your private jet. But if you consider that major corporations have not solved this yet, are we going to trust a government agency to solve this? And we have a government accountability agency saying that they're not ready. They have failed the test.
Well, we already know
this is troubling.
Have gotten into defense contractor systems, the defense department system, so there is precedent for this.
Right, and they're getting more sophisticated, too, and are we keeping up? I'm not sure if we are.
And the administration, they are not fighting the cybersecurity as a war. They're just not. They're looking at it as another sort of government function, and it's not at all. This is a major threat, and this is a signal right here. We should consider this a big signal.
Meanwhile, spoiler alert for you, we are spoiled. House of Cards Season 3 is out. People are fuming over Kevin Spacey's character cracking down on entitlements. I just want to remind you folks at home, it's a fake show. It's not real. Veronica?
It is a show, but you know what? Entitlements, as they say, that the third rail of politics.
I
know. Nobody wants
but this is about an imaginary president.
It's imaginary, but
you know, doing imaginary cuts, and they are seriously overwrought.
I know, right? Sometimes the line between reality and fiction isn't so clear in some viewers' minds, disturbingly. But yeah, this would be a hard thing to do in fake world of television or in reality.
My money is on Frank Underwood. He is shrewd.
That's right.
He is sharp. But here's where we leave reality is this is a politician. Politicians won't touch this issue.
Isn't he a Democrat?
He's a Democrat. He is a Democrat, so it's very unrealistic.
I like the line they attribute to him. It says, "You're not entitled to anything." The evil entitlement cutters. On to issue 3. Hillary Clinton under fire for only using her personal email to handle her State Department duties. Now, Mark, is the outrage overblown? Is that on her? Or isn't that your staff? I mean, you have a SWAT team of people who handle this.
I think I do, but I think the outrage is underblown. I think the mainstream media is going to suppress this. They're going to say, well, of course Hillary had to do that, right? She's got enemies all over the place. You know, we're going to give her a pass. She violated the law for 4 years. She was required to use her government accounts.
I don't know anything about it. I'm just saying, we have IT people here. I don't know what's going on. Half the time,
that's it. But see, that's
so
an excuse.
I use personally because it's.
But that's making an excuse for her.
I'm just saying I'm not a hater like you are. I'm just saying, is it possible her IT people at the State Department should have said, "Madam Secretary," that's what they call her, right? Newsflash. You gotta get set up with an email.
It's possible, and maybe she said, "No, I'd rather like to, I want to do it my way." Either, whatever the situation is, there's a precedent. It sounds like that maybe other secretaries of state did the same thing. If that is,
that's what they're arguing.
That's what they're arguing. If that is the case, I'm not sure if it is. That probably should be changed because if you're using, I don't think she was using Yahoo. She was using something at Clinton email. I forgot the exact format, but whatever. It was some sort of it was on Gawker. But
that was her domain.
Yeah, it wasn't a Yahoo or
Clinton.com.
Hey, you got to fix that.
Here's what's weird, though. it might have been a very clever strategy, because with these guys hacking into government accounts and agencies, and they're looking to get in the State Department, here she is up on the cloud, you know.
The EPA administrator was run out of her position because she did the same exact thing. She had, fake domain names, and she did the same thing.
Oh, we
she
all
lost her
have
job
fake
over
domain
it.
names. Come
okay,
on.
but this is Hillary. She's going to pay a price for this, but not as much. What if she was a Republican? Can you just imagine?
Well, you're right about that. But
okay?
you also raised an astute point, as you often do during the break, and that this is occurring now.
Yeah, yes, they did. They wanted this out of the way early.
Right, yeah, so it works in her favor. At the same time, I'm sure Jeb Bush and some of her other potential opponents are sending her a thank you.
He did. No, he sent a tweet out or something. Look at my emails. They're for the world
to see. Here's the record.
Okay. 55,000 emails.
Will we learn anything about Benghazi is a very important question here.
So you think that this is kind of like, for Republicans, the gift that keeps giving?
Well, this came from a FOIA request. And the Benghazi committee is still...
freedom of information.
And the Benghazi committee is still meeting about this, and they may depose her and get into some of this. So there may be a lot more to the story.
What difference does it... No, okay, that was before. All right, guys.